Gender equality, or maybe gender inequality, we should call it. It's such a big subject. Where do we start? Groups like Moms for Liberty, who probably should actually change their name to Mean Girls on a Power Trip. They have us chasing all kinds of little minuscule things like the LGBTQ community. It's not really fair to go after the transgenders. They are literally like 1/1000% of the population. But Mommies for Liberty, Mean Girls on Crack, are all up and down that. And somehow we end up missing the greater elephant in the room because of their hyper focus on like the transgender, the T group. What is amazing is if we look at what they leave out when they're talking about the transgenders, we will start to see the bigger elephant in the room. They always get their panties in a twist over men who want to dress like women. They really get upset about men who want to have a sex change and become women. They get upset over women that want to have a sex change and become men too, but they never talk about women that dress like men. They don't give a shit. Why? Why don't they care about women who dress like men? And it goes into our societal norms as women. And it is often weaponized by men against women, against other women. These problems that we women create for ourselves. And most men, we probably should watch this too, because then you'll know when that guy is weaponizing it, that one guy is weaponizing it, and you'll recognize it in the women around you also, like the mean girls on power trips. It really comes down to our financial social statuses and how our group in those particular financial statuses must behave. Upper middle class expectations are completely different than poor women expectations. And I want to qualify how I know this. I grew up upper middle class. My father had his own business and was a successful engineer. My one uncle had several successful businesses and several failed businesses. Another uncle was executive vice president of a major grocery chain. Another uncle was a state senator for 30 years. Both grandfathers had their own businesses, and one of them had an international business that's still operating today. And I chose to walk away from all of that when I was 21 years old and joined the United States military. When I got out of the military and then got divorced, and I decided I needed to finish my degree because I had made a mistake in my life and I needed to rectify it by getting my degree, I actually became poor. And I mean poor, poor. And all my friends were basically very poor people. Going back to that whole transgender, why don't those upper middle class mommies on a power trip talk about women that dress like men? Because poor women dress like men. Poor women always dress like men. They wear t-shirts, they wear jeans, they wear sneakers, they wear work boots. They dress like men 90% of the time. The only time an upper middle class woman might be dressed like a man is when she's working in her yard. And even then she's wearing gardener stuff. She's not dressed like a construction worker. Poor women dress like construction workers. That's why mommies on a power trip do not want to talk about women that dress like men. Now, they're all about eventually getting those poor women back in that box too with them, where they tell them that they can't dress like men anymore. But just like in high school, girls, it's just like in high school. Poor women don't have a lot of options. And on the flip side of that, poor women will actually enforce that you should dress more like a man. They throw a temper tantrum fit when they see a woman dressed like a woman. They do. If you're within their ranks and you dress like a woman, they are jealous, they are green-eyed, they are chewing you up and spitting you out. Having been there, done that, rode that pony around so many times, I was on a merry-go-round. I can absolutely say that, 100%. They will go out of their way to chew up a woman that they are jealous of faster than any woman in the upper ranks will. But the upper rank women are smart enough to realize they will also beat your ass. You better be a scrapper. I may or may not have been a scrapper when I got out of the military. So as you go up on the other end of the spectrum, upper middle class women, there's a huge requirement not to dress in any way, shape, or form that might lead anyone to believe that you look too manly. Like, if you go to the gym and they go to a yoga class, they might go get mimosas together. But normally, what do? They get a shower and change and get all dolled up in the gym. Or they go home real quick, shower, and then meet each other an hour later. Blue-collar, poor women, dressed up like men, will go to the bar and have a couple drinks together, still dressed and acting like men. Yeah. They act like men even on the weekends when they're not working. As you move up into the middle ranks, because once I finished my degree, obviously I moved back into the middle class and eventually into the upper end of the middle class. I'm not sure I would say I'm in the upper middle so much as the bottom end of the upper middle. But in the middle class, right, women are allowed to do both. Why would you want to be upper or lower? Why? If you can do both in the middle, I love it. I do. It doesn't change the fact that we weaponize it by saying stupid shit like, why is she wearing heels? Why isn't she wearing heels? Why is she wearing that? Why isn't she wearing that? To allow men to then turn around and weaponize that against us. We live in these societal norms that we created for ourselves based on how we dress and our financial and social status. The reason we have problems with equality and gender equality isn't because mommies on a power trip are so worried about transgenders. We have a problem because mommies on a power trip want all of us to dress a certain way. And they haven't come out openly swinging at women dressing like men because they know those poor women would beat the shit out of them. That's what it comes down to. And they don't give a shit about those poor women. So how do they put those poor women in their place? They do it by attacking transgenders. That's what the transgender thing is about. It is about using old female stereotypes to eventually destroy other women. You don't have to agree with everything that I pointed out, but you do have to think about it. Peace.